Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to do a Freida McFadden reading vlog. I have 5 books here. I don't know if I'm going to read them all, but I want to read some of them in this reading vlog. I love Freida McFadden books. She writes popcorn thrillers, and the twists can definitely get me sometimes. Some of them are predictable. I don't go into these for like a literary masterpiece. I go into these for a good time. You know, if you need a palate cleanser, if you're just looking for something fast-paced with short chapters, a little bit ridiculous, a little bit unbelievable, but you're just along for the journey, then I highly recommend giving this author a try. She's definitely become very, very popular over the last couple of years, but I have let a stack kind of pile up. Starting with some of the backlist ones, I have the Inmate, which I picked up at the book exchange, and the Housemaid's Secret, which I received as a gift from Gabby from Gabbing About Books. I also got The Teacher by Freida McFadden, which I'm pretty sure I got from Zoe. So I got those 3, and then recently I picked up The Perfect Son from my library, and then also my friend Lena over my Patreon, we do a book exchange at Christmas time, and she had me so she sent me The Boyfriend. And I also recently had her on my podcast where we were talking books as we do, and she said that this was her last 5-star read, and I was shocked because Lena is a very tough rater. So when I heard that she rated this 5 stars, I was like, I really want to read that. So yeah, and she ended up getting it for me, so that worked out perfectly. So what I'm gonna do is just scroll through my Libby app on my, using my library card. I'm gonna type in the author's name. We're just gonna scroll until we get to a book in this stack. So first up we have Never Lie, The Coworker, The Locked Door, One by One, Ward D, The Wife Upstairs, The Gift, and The Boyfriend. Next up would have been The Teacher. So, okay. So The Boyfriend is the first one on the list. So we're going to start with The Boyfriend. I'm very, very excited about this. So yeah, I will report back as I get started. It's so dark and gloomy, even though it's not even 6 p.m. We're just in those winter months where it definitely gets darker earlier. So we're just gonna have to deal with the weird mood lighting I tried to set up. Okay, so let's dive into this one. She's looking for the perfect man. He's looking for the perfect victim. Sydney Shaw, like every single woman in New York, has terrible luck with dating. She's seen it all. Men who lie in their dating profile, men who stick her with the dinner bill, and worst of all, men who can't shut up about their mothers. But finally, she hits the jackpot. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, handsome, and works as a doctor at a local hospital. Sydney is swept off of her feet. Then the brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in a string of deaths across the coast, confounds police. The primary suspect, a mystery man who dates his victims before he kills them. So then she should feel safe. She's dating the man of her dreams, but she can't shake her own suspicions that the perfect man may not be as perfect as he seems, because someone is watching her every move, and if she doesn't get to the truth, she'll be the killer's next victim. So let's dive into this and see what we think. Okay, I want to go ahead and put in my theory now on page 22. And I'm not going to tell you if I'm right or if I'm wrong because I don't want to spoil the book, but I do have a solid theory. I don't even know if me telling you my theory is a good idea because then if you haven't read the book and you read the book, it might be your theory too. Okay, but I'm going to tell you. So if you want to skip my theory, just skip ahead a little bit until I go back to like reading and stuff. But okay, so the very first thing that you read is a prologue and it says before Tom, and it was jaw-dropping. And then chapter 1 starts present day Sydney, and Sydney is going out on this blind date with this man named Kevin that she met on a dating app called Cinch. And when he shows up, he looks nothing like his profile picture. It's a really, really bad date, and she kind of described him and stuff like that as being very skinny and 10 years older, bone thin, bordering on gaunt. I think his eye color is different too. His blonde hair is badly receding, but what's left of it is long and pulled back into an unkempt ponytail. Well, the date is horrible, as you can imagine. And as she's leaving, she, you know, is trying to get out of there as quickly as possible, and he's like, oh, let me walk you home, and she's like, no, and he's like, no, I insist. So she's like, okay, I'll basically walk a few blocks up into a residential area and I'll tell him this is my building and that will be the end of it. So she does that, and then he's like, okay, what about a hug? What about a kiss? And then he like aggressively goes after her. Then this other guy notices what's going on, is able to break it up. Okay, and so Kevin goes off, you know, gets chased off by the other guy, and the other guy is like, everything cool, you good now? And he goes about his merry way, and she's kind of shocked by that. After that chapter, we go back into a Tom chapter, and it's talking about this guy Tom, and he has this, or this, I guess he's a boy because he's like in high school, looking at this girl Daisy that he likes and stuff like that. And he's talking about his friend, his best friend named Slug. And back when I was reading about the guy breaking up the attack on Sydney, I was like, what if these guys are in on it together? Okay, I was thinking he's going to attack her because this random guy shows up that does not look like the guy on Cinch. So I was like, what if that was planned, that he was going to attack her and this other guy was going to break it up so she could be attracted to him, and when he sees her again, they start dating. So I think that's what's going to happen. But then in the before, it kind of confirmed it because it talks about how Slug is his only friend and he doesn't help his prospects with girls. And even though he shot up to over 6 feet in the last 2 years, he only gained about 10 pounds from when he was 5 feet tall. He looks a lot like a walking skeleton that put on a pair of blue jeans and a t-shirt and got a face full of acne. So I'm thinking Tom and Slug are gonna be the guys from the Sydney chapter in the very, very beginning. So I think Tom is gonna be the guy that she starts dating, and Slug was the guy that set up the whole rescue type thing. Like Slug attacked Sydney so Tom could rescue Sydney and be like the hero. Okay, Tom is definitely gonna be the guy, the new boyfriend that's utterly perfect, because he says he's applying to medical school. Does she think I'm trying to show off in class? I'm not trying to. I just want to get good grades. Next year we are applying to college and I want to get into a top school so I can get into medical school eventually. Okay friends, it is the next day, but I am ready to dive back into this book. I am absolutely eating it up. I read to chapter 25, page 149 yesterday. So I read almost 150 pages, and I'm binging this book. It is so interesting. The twists just, it's not even the twists, okay? It's the bizarreness of the story and also my theories. And something was revealed last night around here, and I read like one more chapter after that to see if I could find out any more information, but I don't want to tell you what happened. But oh, this is just so good. So I'm gonna dive back in. Things have finally been revealed a little bit. I know a little bit more than I did when I started, and I want to finish this one tonight because I have Patreon reading sprints and I want to start another book. And I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to type in the author's name, and then whatever one comes up next that's in my stack, that's what I'm going to read. So let's do it. Okay, another theory that I had, it's so blatantly obvious. So we do have our first murder victim in the book, and our main character Sydney does know the murder victim, and as soon as she was murdered I was like, I know who did it. And then something was just said that reminded me, anyway, it's over now. Definitely over. I'm like, yeah, because she's dead. Oh no, something else was just revealed. So now I know that. So that means my theory. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Oh my gosh, you guys. I just finished The Boyfriend. And I'm giving it 5 stars. This reminds me why I love popcorn thrillers. Like, this was so entertaining. I was just in it. I had theories. I had to know what was happening. Things were suspicious. Little things were being revealed throughout the story. I had more suspicions and more theories. And the ending, though, I loved this. And I think what made it super compelling is that you have a past and present timeline. In the present timeline, we're getting Sydney, her dating, that whole thing. And in the past, you're getting this high schooler named Tom and things that are going on with his life, with his family, with this girl that he likes, with these high schoolers, you know, being found dead and him being questioned. There are so many things about this. It was just so good. Like, not good as in like the best written book ever, but like as a 5-star feeling. This had it from the prologue. I don't know if it said prologue. Yes, it does say prologue. From the prologue, I was feeling the 5-star feeling. So highly recommend this book. It's fast paced. It's not confusing. It's just, you can't turn the pages fast enough because you have theories about what is going on, and you just have to. And it's really funny because like as you're reading, like more and more things are like kind of confirming theories that I had. Oh my gosh. But somehow, some way, it just blew my mind. Wow. So we are starting off very strong with a 5-star read by Freida McFadden. Now it is time to choose our next book. I'm in between these two, The Inmate by Freida McFadden and The Perfect Son by Freida McFadden. They're both the same time of audiobook, 8 hours a piece. This one does feel a little bit lighter, and I am borrowing this physically from the library, and that would be really good to return to the library. So I think I'm gonna go with The Perfect Son. This one came out in 2022. Is that right? Originally self-published in 2022, but then it was traditionally published in 2024. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read The Perfect Son. Let's read what the back says. Of course, the sticker is covering it. 𝒂𝒂𝒃 has a perfect, we're gonna have to look it up on Goodreads and read it that way because that is being blocked. 𝒂𝒂𝒃 has a perfect family and a perfect life until the evening when 2 detectives show up at her front door. A high school girl has vanished from Erica's quite suburban neighborhood. The police suspect the worst, murder, and Erica's teenage son, Liam, was the last person to see the girl alive. Erica has always sensed something dark and disturbed in her seemingly perfect older child. She wants to believe he's innocent, but as the evidence mounts, she can't deny the truth. Liam may have done the unthinkable. Now she must ask herself, how far will she go to protect her son? So that's The Perfect Son. And based on just the synopsis alone, I like how they pointed it out in her seemingly perfect older child. So that means there's going to be a younger child. And I think that is the person that's been doing the bad things, and the older sibling is kind of taking the fall for it type thing. So let's get started with this one, and I will update you on my thoughts as I start reading. All right, I thought I would check in because I have started The Perfect Son. I am currently on chapter 8, page 39, and I wanted to share my initial thoughts. I think I'm dead wrong about my synopsis hypothesis. So we have some police transcripts back and forth between different people, the police and then like someone else. The first one is with the mom, 𝒂𝒂𝒃, so the police and her. And then later on we have an old teacher or a principal. Who is this? Sharon Anderson. Yeah, it was the principal when he was a kindergartner. So I've only gotten like 2 of those so far. But basically it seems like he's kind of bad news. What's his name again? Liam. Like Liam had some things happen in the past that don't seem that good. But he is 16, his sister is 14, and he is the mom's favorite, even though she's going on and on about like why, you know, you shouldn't really pick a favorite as a parent. But he's just very, like, he's an easy child, you know. She doesn't have to correct him a lot. She doesn't have to, I don't know. She just likes him more because he's like that perfect child. He's on debate team. He is in high school, obviously. He likes this girl named Olivia, but there's actually 2 different Olivias in the story. One that we're actually getting the perspective of that has a crush on him, that sits behind him in math class. And then there is another girl named Olivia that he seems to be on the debate team with. But I think he has the crush on the Olivia that sits behind him in math class. His sister Hannah seems kind of like a basket case, typical teenager. And we're getting a lot of the perspective of Erica, the mom. And yeah, like I said, I'm not very far in, but so far, based on like the boyfriend, how that immediately had me intrigued, this one did not have me immediately intrigued. Like it should. I don't know if it's the audiobook narrator or if it's just like the pacing of the story and the detached way I feel to the story. Like I don't feel like I know what I'm supposed to be concerned about. Like in the prologue, there's a body. He was stabbed to death. And then Erica, the mom, confesses to it. He was stabbed to death. And who did it? She. And then it says about 1 week earlier. So we're basically like going back a week to see what led up to. Did she stab her own son? Oh my goodness. Maybe she killed her son. He was stabbed to death. And who did it? Miss Cass, I did it. I killed him, detective, and I would do it again. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she killed her son. That's what I think happened. I think it's going to try to lead me to believe that maybe this old friend of his is the one that's dead. But I'm thinking it's Liam. I'm thinking the mom killed her own son. But still, it's not totally pulling me in, and I wish I was connecting to it more. But I do have Patreon reading sprints tonight, so I know I'll make it a big chunk into the book. So I'll be able to check back in with you tomorrow and let you know a good, solid update about how I'm feeling about the book. I'm here with an update for The Perfect Son by Freida McFadden, which is the second book that I picked up a couple days ago, actually. I read a bunch of it, and then yesterday I didn't read anything, but today I am back to it. I've already read a little bit today. I'm almost done. I have less than 100 pages, around 70, 75 pages to go of this book, and for the most part, I haven't enjoyed this as much as The Boyfriend. I think that's been clear about the rate at which I read it, my interest level in picking it up, and just, I don't know, just the overall story is very different. It is intriguing. I think I've already figured out what the plot twist is going to be. I figured that out a while ago. I did have a theory based on the synopsis, but that was before even starting the book, page 1. So just based on the synopsis, I had a theory, and then quickly, once I started reading the book, I was like, I highly doubt that's what's going on. That has not been confirmed or not, but I definitely have another theory after starting reading the story, and I'm just very interested to see if that theory is correct, but I don't want to share that theory. Like I said, I'm trying to keep these spoiler free. This one, basically, this girl goes missing, and Erica's son, Liam, is being accused of kidnapping and killing this girl, but we do know from other portions of the book, at least it seems to be, that she's still alive. And I don't think he did it. I think I know who did, but like I said, I mean, the author is leading me to believe that it's the son, but I think she's tricking me. But it is broken up. Like I said, we do get Erica's chapters, so we're getting perspective from the mom, Erica, and this girl, Olivia. That's it. We're not getting any other perspectives in the book, except for every once in a while we do get these police transcripts of different people that know her son, taught her son, had interactions with her son, and it's a police interview. So we do get these transcripts every once in a while. So this one is a police interview with Sharon Anderson, and that was his principal from when he was in kindergarten. And then there will be like his English teacher. Here's a police interview with Olivia Reynolds. Let's see what else. So different interviews. Eleanor Williams, his second grade teacher. So you get Erica, Olivia, and then these police transcripts, and you're just trying to piece it together. Yeah, that's the story. Like I said, I have a strong theory, less than 100 pages to go. I'm going to read those, and then I will report back with my rating. I finished The Perfect Son by Freida McFadden, and I wanted to give you my review. I'll just start with my star rating. I'm going to give this story 3 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it, but it was terribly predictable, especially if you listen to the audiobook. I think it makes it even more obvious, and I don't know how they could have handled that differently, but I don't know. They definitely should have handled it differently. I I did like the police transcripts. That kept me guessing. But overall, like I said, getting the perspective of Erica and Olivia, I would have liked to get some other people that were, you know, it would have just made it a little bit more interesting if we would have gotten different perspectives, but I really can't tell you what other perspectives I would have wanted because it kind of spoils things a little bit. It was enjoyable. It was easy to put down, not as fast paced as a read because it was so obvious, but still a good story, still interesting. It really centers around this family and the son and this missing girl and if he did it or not, the perfect son. So yeah, if you've read this one, let me know what you think down in the comment section. And I have no idea what I'm gonna pick up next, but I'll let you know. All right, hello friends. Thought I would let you know what we're gonna be reading next. Still have 3 on my list, but I think next I have to dive into The Teacher by Freida McFadden. This is also one of her newer releases, and I'm really excited to get into this. I've heard mixed things. I used to be a teacher myself, so I'm wondering how I'm gonna feel about this one. Lesson number 1, trust no one. Eve has a good life. She gets up each day, gets a kiss from her husband, and heads off to teach math at the local high school. All is as it should be. Except last year, 𝒂𝒄𝒏𝒄 High was rocked by a scandal with one student, Addie, at its center. And this year, Eve is dismayed to find the girl in her class. Addie can't be trusted. She lies. She hurts people. She destroys lives. At least that's what everyone says. But nobody knows the real Addie. Nobody knows the secrets that could destroy her if people at the school found out. And when Eve discovers the shocking truth, Addie will do anything to keep her quiet. A story of twisting secrets and long-awaited revenge. Well, I do love a good revenge story, so we're gonna hop into this, and as I get started, I will update you with my thoughts. Update time on The Teacher. This is straight up messy. All of the characters are messy. All of them are doing something bad, so we're mainly following Addie and Eve. So Eve Bennett is a teacher. She teaches trigonometry, I think, at the school, and her husband teaches at the school as well. And he teaches English, I believe, but also he's like on the newspaper staff. There's like a poetry club or something like that. And then Addie is this teacher. No, Addie is this student that everyone is thinking that she got involved with a teacher the previous year. So she's like a junior this year, but in her sophomore year, something went on with her and this teacher, Art Tuttle. Well, I don't think anything actually went on. Like, I'm not sure. But there was a scandal. Addie was at its center, and she is both in Eve's class and Nate's class. So she's in both of them. Well, Eve is doing something naughty. Nate, I don't even know. But it just seems like everybody is doing something they shouldn't be doing, and you're trying to figure out how it all fits together. Like, did Addie actually do anything last year? Was that scandal legit? What is going on in the present? Why are the two teachers that are married so different from one another, and they seem further away from each other than they could possibly get? And then Addie's kind of in the middle. I'm halfway. I don't know what's going on. It's so interesting because everybody seems at fault. And then she's also getting bullied at the school. So everybody in this book is bad. If you don't like reading about morally gray characters, you're not gonna like this book. But I'm very interested to see the direction that this book takes. It is not 2 minutes later. I'm like 3 more pages into the book than I was when I just checked in. And this book, it just took a turn. I mean, the people were already unlikable. There was already a ton of cheating happening. But now we officially have a teacher-student interaction, inappropriate interaction. I don't know if it's going to get worse, but they definitely kissed. And as a former teacher myself, and as much as this has been in the news, I don't know. I just, this is giving me the ick. I'm going to keep reading for now, but just know that that is in there. It didn't happen until like 50% of the way through the book, but I mean, I felt like it was leading up to that anyway, right? That's why people hate this book, is because of this inappropriate thing that's happening. I'm not liking that part. Well, I finished The Teacher, and this book definitely gave me the ick, especially as a former teacher, especially how much this subject matter used to be in the news. No matter what the consensual age is, there is a power dynamic, an unbalanced power dynamic. So I knew in the back of my mind this was going to have a student-teacher relationship. At some point, I was just definitely expecting that to happen. And it did. I'm happy that it didn't get more graphic or try to make us like that. You know, it wasn't trying to do that. But I still, outside of that, found this book to be horribly predictable. From the prologue to almost the very, very end. I think it was only in the epilogue that there was like a last minute little thing that surprised me. But everything else, I saw it coming a mile away. And because of that, there was no dread or suspense or mystery building throughout the book. And this is a pretty long book. It is 379 pages, so almost 400 pages. I'm not saying it was bad. It wasn't poorly written. It's just that I already knew what was going to happen. And I was just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, you know? So not the best, but not the worst. You know, I gave it 3 stars. So if this and The Boyfriend are your contenders to read, definitely read The Boyfriend because that one was just so much fun. But I have yet 2 more to choose from. I have The Inmate and The Housemaid's Secret. I don't know if I'll get to both of them. I'm going to try. I think I'm more interested in The Inmate, but I'm going to see what's available on audiobook and we'll go from there. It does look like I have the audiobook for The Inmate, so I'm going to start that next. It says there are 3 rules that 𝒂𝒂𝒃 must follow as a new nurse practitioner at a men's maximum security prison. Number 1, treat all the prisoners with respect. Number 2, never reveal any personal information. Number 3, never ever become too friendly with the inmates. But none of the staff at the prison knows Brooke has already broken the rules. Nobody knows about her intimate connection to Shane Nelson, one of the penitentiary's most notorious and dangerous inmates. And they certainly don't know that Shane was Brooke's high school sweetheart, the star quarterback who is now spending the rest of his life in prison for a series of grisly murders, or that Brooke's testimony was what put him there. But Shane knows, and he will never forget. Okay. We're going into this one. I picked this up at the book exchange. I got it for $8 in store credit. So let's read this one. All right, friends, I want to finish this book up today, reading The Inmate. Made it to chapter 25, page 179. I am ready to knock this bad boy out. Yeah, I'm sitting out on the sun porch. Charlie is beside me. We're nice and cozy, so let's do this. I did finish this last night, and I'm gonna rate the story 4 out of 5 stars. I do think that there were portions of the story that were predictable, but I also think there were parts that weren't, unless you thought about it too hard. Basically, it's a classic past and present timeline. In the present, we have Brooke, who is moving back into her childhood home because her parents recently passed, and she's going to work in this prison as like a kind of like nurse practitioner. She has a 10-year-old son, and back in the day when she was like in high school or whatever, she ended up putting her boyfriend behind bars because he tried to kill her. There was this kind of house party-ish at his farmhouse. His parents were away for the night, and he invited over some friends, including her, and everybody got killed that night. There was an attempt on her life, but Shane and Tim and Brooke were the only people who survived. So Tim was her best friend from next door, and Shane was her quarterback boyfriend, and then there was Brooke. And both Shane and Tim were both injured that night. I think Shane had like a bump on his head, Tim had a stab wound, and Brooke they tried to strangle her with like this necklace that she was wearing. And so because of the events of that night, and she testified against him and put him behind bars, but now she's going to work at that prison as a nurse practitioner, and she's probably going to bump into him there, right? Something's going to happen, and he's going to end up in her office. Well, that is what happens. And so she's working at this prison, and she's bumping into Shane again. She also drops her son off at his new school, and lo and behold, Tim works there as like the assistant principal or something like that, and he wants to ask her out for drinks, but she's a little hesitant because she's trying not to get involved in these people from like this traumatic past that she has. And as the present storyline is moving forward, we're getting flashbacks to, of course, that night, how the little party thing came to be, or it wasn't really a party. It was just kind of like a get together of friends. But yeah, we're seeing how that night played out from start to finish as well. And then you're trying to piece together clues and stuff like that. So yeah, you're just trying to figure out, you know, did Shane really do it? And all of that. So yeah, it was an enjoyable story. The pacing was good. The characters were interesting. I liked both the past and the present timeline. And I mean, no real complaints other than it was a little bit predictable. Or at least certain portions of it were. I really enjoyed it. So it was basically like a 5 stars, but I didn't get that feeling. So 4 stars. So yeah, that is that one, which means I only have one more book to read to clear out the books that I own by Freida McFadden off of my physical TBR. And that is The Housemaid's Secret, which is the second book in the Housemaid series. And I think there's 3 books and a novella now. Let me look that up because I feel like that's just a lot. We should have just left it at the first book. I have no idea what the second book is going to be about. And you're either going to love or hate the first book. I think, let's just look it up. Okay, I gave that one 4 stars. The original, The Housemaid. Yes, there is a novella. So the first book is The Housemaid, the one with the blue cover. This is the second book. And then there's one called The Housemaid's Wedding, which is 2.5. So it's a short story. After this book, you're supposed to read this book. And then there is a third book, The Housemaid is Watching. So it's a trilogy with a little short story mixed in. So that is the latest and the greatest, I guess. But honestly, do I even want to continue? I'm going to read this one. I don't want to read the back of the book because I don't want to spoil anything possibly from the first book. But yeah, I'll get started on this one and I'll let you know some thoughts when I have them. I thought I would offer you a reading update because I did start The Housemaid's Secret earlier today. I sat outside. It was 70 degrees and it was glorious. I read to chapter 9, page 47, so almost 50 pages. And honestly, like, I think I remember what happened in The Housemaids, but maybe I need a refresher because I feel like I need a refresher. This is just so, I thought it was gonna like continue the story, but it just feels so different. Millie just started working for the 𝒂𝒂𝒃s, and there's a husband and wife. The husband hired her. The wife is supposedly sick and in her room, and if the door is closed, don't bother her. It's hard to find an employer who doesn't ask too many questions about my past. So I thank my lucky stars that the 𒂂💂💄💄 miraculously gave me a job cleaning their stunning penthouse with views across the city and preparing fancy meals in their shiny kitchen. I can work here for a while, stay quiet until I get what I want. And by that, she's trying to go to school and get her degree, but I don't know if there's something else she wants as well. It's almost perfect, but I still haven't met Mrs. 𒂂💂💄 or seen inside the guest bedroom. I'm sure I hear her crying. I notice spots of blood around the neck of her white nightgowns when I'm doing laundry. And one day I can't help but knock on the door. When it gently swings open, what I see inside changes everything. That's when I make a promise. After all, I've done this before. I can protect Mrs. 𒂂💂💄 while keeping my own secrets locked up safe. Douglas 𒂂💂💄 has done wrong. He's gonna pay. It's simply a question of how far I'm willing to go. Oh, it's about to get good. But yeah, she just started working for them. And she's getting like a weird vibe. She also feels like someone's following her or watching her. So, like when she's out and about in town. But yeah, I'm going to continue reading. I have reading sprints with my patrons tonight. And so I'll be reading a bunch of this then. All right, I wanted to give another update on The Housemaid's Secret. I just got off of sprints with my patrons. I made it to chapter 32, page 142. And I am enjoying it, but there's a lot going on in this book. It's definitely not focusing in one place. It's kind of jumping around and multiple things are happening. So I kind of liked the central main thing that happened in the first book. This one, it's a lot of mysterious things happening in a lot of different places. So there's mysterious things happening in her job. She has someone following her. There's mysterious things happening at her apartment building. She has this boyfriend that loves her, wants to move in with her, or wants her to move in with him, but she keeps not doing that because she won't tell him about her past. So there's lots of things going on and it's kind of a lot to concentrate on. I think we could have not had that many things going on, but I am enjoying it and I will read more tomorrow and give you an update. Okay friends, it is time for my final check-in. I finished The Housemaid's Secret by Freida McFadden earlier today, and I'm rating this story 3 out of 5 stars. I'm pretty sure I rated The Housemaid, the first book in the series, 3 stars as well. I will say that if you're like new to thrillers or you don't read a lot of thrillers, you might enjoy this one better than I did. But similarly to how I felt in the first book, I thought the main reveals were pretty predictable. It is kind of following the same vibe of the first book. book, you're following Millie. She goes to work for the like 1% as a housemaid, and the wife is kind of closed off in her room, and as the story continues, she starts to confide in Millie, and you know, you come to find out that her husband is not a good guy, and Millie jumps in and tries to help her. So I wasn't really shocked by anything that I read, but as with other McFadden novels, it was easy to read. I generally had fun with it. There were like a few things that I was surprised by, so that's always nice. But yeah, 3 out of 5 stars for this one. So that wraps up this Freida McFadden vlog. I'm so happy I was able to knock these 5 books off of my TBR. That's all of the Freida books that I own, so that feels really good. Now I get to look at her backlist. I know she's coming out with 2 new books in 2025, and I definitely want to pick both of those up. But yeah, thank you guys for coming on this journey with me. Thank you for watching. I hope you're all having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, friends.